Yo, what is up people? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about the brand new DJI Action 5 Pro. Let's go! Woohoo! So I've been using this brand new DJI Action 5 Pro for about 3 months now because I produced the official launch film of this new action camera. It's now been the third in a row I produced, shot, directed and edited the official launch film of the Action 3, Action 4 and now the new DJI Action 5 Pro. So we've really put it to the test. We've shot all kinds of extreme sports, we've shot underwater in a lot of different conditions. So this is why I wanted to make a full in-depth review of this new action camera, show you guys what it offers and what I think of it. So to kick things off, let's have a first look at this new DJI Action 5 Pro. So it has a really nice design. I really like it. It has a new texture on the camera. It has red details with the little 5 Pro written in red. I really like the design. Same as the previous ones, we have the magnetic quick release system, which I absolutely love. This is such a game changer for me. And it also has the same cage system as the previous ones, allowing you to mount the camera vertically on any mounts, and it's also protecting the camera in case you're doing extreme stuff. In terms of size, it is very similar to the Action 4. So yeah, same kind of size, same kind of weight, and it's a very small camera, like very small for an action camera. It is smaller than the GoPro, smaller than the Insta360 Ace Pro as well. So yeah, I really like it. I like how powerful it is, yet it remains super small and lightweight. Okay, so now what is new with this new DJI Action 5 Pro? So the main difference is the sensor. It has a brand new sensor. It's a 1/1.3 inch sensor that offers the best image quality I've ever had on an action camera. We've been able to capture such amazing images with this little camera in a lot of different environments with a lot of different colors, different lighting conditions, and the image quality was always perfect. So yeah, the image quality we're starting to get from these little action cameras and this brand new DJI Action 5 Pro is actually mind-blowing because, for example, in the official launch film, all the shots that were not captured on the Action 5 Pro, for example, all the close-ups or all the shots where you can actually see the Action 5 Pro in frame, they were all captured on Red Raptor or Red Komodo, and I've been able to make it match in post-production. I'm not saying this is the same quality as a Red camera, you cannot compare it, of course, this is very different, but what I'm saying is that with these little action cameras and this new DJI Action 5 Pro, you get a quality of images that is getting closer and closer to a professional level, so you can easily mix different cameras and throw this one in the mix without anyone noticing, which is such a game changer for me as a professional filmmaker. Now, the second thing that is brand new on this little action camera and that I really enjoyed is that you can now do 32 times slow motion in 1080p. So basically, you're gonna shoot your footage in 1080p at 240 frames, and then with the software of the action camera, it's gonna make your footage go from 240 frames to 960 frames. People that are using Premiere Pro, for example, it's a little bit similar to using optical flow, but it's built in the action camera. So for example, right now you can see this shot, we shot it at 240 frames in 1080p, and then the action camera made it 960 frames, and it's looking absolutely perfect to me. The only thing you need to know is that if you're too close to the action, you will see that it's not like super clean. Like for example, if it's moving fast and close to the camera, you will see it. So I would suggest when you want to do shots like this, I would suggest being a little bit far away, not too, you don't have to be like super far away from the action, but still like a few meters away, because if you're too close, you're going to be seeing it in the footage. Okay, next thing that I absolutely love on this new DJI Action 5 Pro is that you can directly connect the DJI Mic 2 to the Action 5 Pro, which is such a game changer. No cables needed, connection is super fast and reliable, and then you can just vlog or do tutorials or whatever as you go. Like, it's super fast, you just connect it, you just put your mic 2 on yourself, and then you can just talk to the camera and you get amazing sound quality. I will talk a little bit more about audio a little bit later in the video, but yeah, that's a new thing. You can now connect two DJI mic 2s to the Action 5 Pro. There's also a new super night mode that you can use when shooting in low light. I haven't been able to truly test it myself. We had like a camera operator shooting some footage for us, some moto scenes at night. You can see it right here. It looks really good. Still not as good as a Sony a7S III, for example, but again, it's hard to compare because we have such a smaller camera, smaller sensor and everything, but still low light is a lot better than the previous generations. Okay, so next thing, they've put brand new screens on this new DJI Action 5 Pro. We now have a double OLED touchscreen at the back and at the front. Both are brighter and bigger than the previous ones, which makes the experience of shooting much more enjoyable. You can see better, it's easier to navigate in the menu and everything. So yeah, just another little thing I wanted to mention. Okay, so now another brand new thing that only this new DJI Action 5 Pro has and that I have never seen on any other action camera is that it has a pressure detection. What it means that it's going to tell you the depth if you're diving, or it's going to tell you the altitude if you're in the mountains, skydiving or whatever. So yeah, again, a super fun thing to use, and it makes the experience of shooting even more enjoyable. I will talk a little bit more about it later in the video when I talk about the underwater stuff. And then another brand new thing on this new action camera is the fact that you now have about 45 gigabytes of internal storage, which represents about 1 hour of filming if you shoot in 4K at 100 frames per second, which can be super useful in case you forget your SD card. Alright, so now let's have a look at the specs of this new DJI Action 5 Pro. So in terms of resolution and frames per second, it is the same as the previous one, the Action 4. It does 4K 120 and it does 1080p at 240 frames. When you shoot in 4K, 4K 120 or whatever, you can shoot in a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is super useful because then it's going to allow you to slightly reframe your image in post-production. In terms of field of view, it is similar to the previous one. It has a 155-degree field of view, and you can choose ultra wide or wide, same as the previous one. But a little thing you need to know is that if you shoot in a 4:3 aspect ratio, ultra wide and wide are the same, so no need to change, you can just keep wide. Now if we talk about colors, same as the previous one, it's capturing 10-bit colors and it's really allowing you to manipulate the colors in order to achieve the color grading you want in post-production. In terms of color profiles, you have the D-Log M profile, which is super flat, allowing you a bit more flexibility in post, or you can shoot normal 10-bit colors as well. Regarding stabilization, not much to say about it. Similar to the previous generations, stabilization is absolutely perfect. We're shooting a lot of extreme sports, we had the cameras mounted everywhere, and the footage was always looking super stable. Now, final things regarding the specs of the camera. The white balance, again, a super important topic. We shot the entire project, the entire launch film in auto white balance, and it was always doing an amazing job. I will talk a little bit more about white balance for underwater stuff later in the video in the underwater section. Alright, so now let's talk about one of the most important topics when it comes to filmmaking. It is the audio. So as I mentioned earlier, you can directly connect two DJI mic 2s to the DJI Action 5 Pro. You don't need cable, it is wireless, it is super fast and reliable, and it's super useful. It is such a game changer for me. So once the DJI mic 2 is connected to your action camera, you can either directly use it like this, because there's a built-in microphone. You can just clip it onto your subject. You have a little magnetic mount that is again super useful because then you can just put it behind the t-shirt, boom, it's gonna clip and it's gonna hold in place. You also have a little dead cat that you can use if you want to in case it's windy. We've been shooting scenes on a beach. It was quite windy and audio came out absolutely perfect. So yeah, super useful. It is absolutely amazing if you want to do quick shots when you don't really care about seeing the microphone in the footage. If you want to do vlogs or stuff like this, you just directly connect it, you talk to your camera, you have your microphone mounted on yourself, or you can also just use it as a little mic like this and just talk to it and be like blah 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 blah, and the audio quality is absolutely amazing. I will show you a little example right now.
Hi guys, what's up? Today's dive with the dolphins was absolutely unreal.
So today we are in the Alps and it's perfect condition for flying. Today's wakeboarding session was sick.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, man.
So right now the image you're seeing is coming from the DJI Action 5 Pro and the audio is coming straight from the DJI Mic 2 that I wirelessly connected to the Action 5 Pro. So I'm talking to the microphone right now, and then if I mount it to my t-shirt using the magnet, it will sound like this. Okay. All right. So right now the Mic 2 is mounted on my t-shirt using the magnet. I can talk with it, I can move around, and the sound is just perfect, as you can hear. If you want, you can also plug a lavalier mic into your DJI Mic 2, and then you have a lavalier mic. This is exactly what I'm using right now for this audio. I have the DJI Mic 2 in my pocket, and I have a little lavalier mic here, and again, you can directly connect your DJI Mic 2 to your audio. Now if we talk about the built-in microphone of the DJI Action 5 Pro, again, it's delivering super good audio quality. You can definitely vlog with it, talk to the camera if you don't want to connect the DJI Mic 2. Only issue is that if it's windy, you're gonna hear it. I don't think they have a dead cat for the built-in microphone. That would be a cool thing to have. If it's windy, you will have to use the DJI Mic 2 with the dead cat, or like have a lavalier mic plugged to the DJI Mic 2 with a dead cat on it as well. But yeah, audio quality of the built-in microphone is amazing. It's awesome to capture sound effects, for example, while you're filming on the go. Or it's also good, for example, when you're in conditions where you cannot use the DJI Mic 2. For example, if you're in the water, you had, I don't know, an amazing encounter with an animal and you want to share it, you just want to film yourself and talk to the camera, then you can just do it using the built-in microphone, and the audio is going to be absolutely great.
Yo, Diana, what did we see?
We saw a dugong. They're critically endangered. Ah! First time ever.
How was it?
It was amazing. We got to dive down with him and he was just staying in one place eating like crazy. It's so peaceful.
That was sick. So many dolphins everywhere, all over the place. So sick. Yo, what up? We're in the Red Sea right now, shooting with the brand new DJI Action 5. We're filming some of the most amazing coral reefs in the entire world. We're diving with stunning marine animals. So let's go in the water and let me show you around.
Alright, so now let's jump in the water and see what the DJI Action 5 Pro can deliver when you're underwater. So first of all, it is waterproof to 20 meters without the dive case, which is super useful. Again, if you're free diving, you don't want to bring the dive case, you can just go with it. If we take a look at the colors and the image you get out of this camera, this is easily the best action camera for underwater footage. It has a little color temperature sensor inside the O of the little action written here on the camera, and thanks to this little color sensor, the colors you get are by far the best you can get out of any action cameras in the market right now. But of course it has limitations. When you're diving, the deeper you go, the more you're going to start losing colors. Everything's going to become more and more blue. First you lose the reds, then you're going to lose the purple colors and everything, but there's nothing you can do about it. Even with the best camera, you cannot bring these colors back. Even with your eyes, you don't see them. So if you really want to shoot stuff that is deep, I would suggest you should bring lights. That's the only way to bring back the colors. Or if you're a bit shallower, the action camera, the DJI Action 5 Pro, is going to allow you to capture absolutely amazing underwater colors. As you probably already know, I shoot a lot of underwater stuff, and this is by far the best action camera you can get for underwater footage. Now here's a little side-by-side comparison with the DJI Action 5 Pro, the Action 4 and the Action 3, so you can see a little bit of the difference in the footage. All of these shots were captured at the exact same time, so you can see how it looks on each of these three different cameras. As mentioned before, this new DJI Action 5 Pro has a hydrostatic pressure detection, which is basically telling you how deep you are as you were diving. So when we were filming, it was super fun. We were free diving. I was filming, looking at the screen, framing my shot and everything, but I could just look on the side of the screen and I could see how deep we were, which was super fun to use when diving. I could know exactly how deep I was. And it's also super useful because there's a mode that you can enable in which it's going to automatically start recording when you start diving. So when the camera is about 2 meters deep, it's going to automatically start recording, and when you get back to the surface, it's going to automatically stop recording. So it's super handy, especially for example if you have the camera on your mask, like I really like doing for POV shots. Sometimes I just forget to press the record button. Now with this I don't have to worry about it. I just put the Action 5 Pro on my mask. As soon as I start diving, it's automatically going to start recording, and when I get back to the surface, it's automatically going to stop recording, so I make sure I don't miss any moment when I'm underwater diving. So again, it's super useful, especially for POV shots. Something else that I already mentioned, but again that is super useful when diving, is the quick release system. So for example, when I dive, I have my main underwater housing with my main camera, and then on top of it I mount my action camera. Sometimes I have one, sometimes I have two, sometimes I have four. But yeah, it's super useful because then your camera is mounted up here. If you just want to switch, let's say for example, if you want to switch from horizontal to vertical for social media content, you can quickly do it. Or if you want to switch from having your action camera mounted on your underwater housing to having your action camera mounted on your mask, for example, for POV shot, you can do it as well. So you can quickly just take it from your underwater housing, boom, put it on your mask and just film POV stuff, which is super handy. Or I don't know, if let's say there's an animal in between rocks and your big underwater housing is not gonna fit, you can just take your action camera off of it and then you can just hold it, film it, and then put it back on and move on. So yeah, super handy and super useful, making the experience so much more enjoyable than having to deal with screws and stuff like this. Okay, so now let's move on to another very important topic as well. It is the battery life. So the battery on this Action 5 Pro, once again, is mind-blowing. When we're shooting for the launch film, sometimes we could shoot for an entire day without having to change batteries. That's absolutely amazing. And same as the previous versions, we have this little battery case. You're probably already familiar with it, but yeah, you can put 3 batteries in it. There's a LED showing you the battery level. If it's green, it's fully charged, orange or red. So yeah, battery is super useful. And now they have a new battery that they call Extreme battery that are even more powerful than normal ones. So it's gonna hold even longer. Okay, now another topic that I know a lot of you are very interested in is FPV. So again, this is to me the best action camera you can get for FPV for different reasons. First reason is the quick release system. Let's say you have a few FPV drones but only one action camera, you can just put a mount on each of it and then you can just switch from one drone to the other. You just take the camera, put it on one drone, take your shot. Then if you want to shoot with a different drone, you just quickly take the camera, put it on the other drone, and you don't have to deal with screws and stuff like this, which again is super useful and makes the experience so much easier. Another interesting thing is that, for example, for the launch film, we shot all the FPV footage in 4K with the 4:3 aspect ratio. That way we could slightly reframe the shot in post-production, which is again super useful. And then regarding stabilization for the launch film, we always kept the stabilization on, and then we didn't stabilize the footage in post-production. So we just took the footage straight out of the camera and used it like this, and the stabilization was doing an amazing job. We had a few moments where we can see it's a little jittery. I don't know if it's because we're flying super fast, maybe with the speed and the wind, it was creating these little jittery movements, or maybe it's the pilot that was doing like a few moves, I don't know, but yeah, that's the only issue I've seen with the stabilization. Now if we quickly talk about photos, I've used the Action 5 Pro to capture photos in all of the different environments we shot, and I've been able to capture super nice photos. It's capturing 8K photos, so super good quality, raw, so you can edit the way you want in post-production, so not much to say about photo, except the fact that when you're underwater, you have a lot of chromatic aberration. I've talked about it with the DJI engineers and they said there's nothing they can do about it. It's because of the water refraction, the super wide angle, and the fact that we're using a small sensor, something like this. I'm not an engineer, so I don't know exactly, but yeah, there was a lot of chromatic aberrations on the photos. But if you look at the other action cameras from the competition, it is the same. You also have the same chromatic aberration. So now a few words about the extra features you can use when shooting with the DJI Action 5 Pro. So there's a new mode called subject centering. So basically what it does is if you're filming horizontally, it's gonna track your subject within your frame, and then it's gonna export a 9:16, so a vertical video with your subject tracked in out of your horizontal video. I personally don't use it because if I know I'm gonna use a vertical video, then I just shoot vertically. Or if I'm shooting horizontally and then I just crop vertically for social media, I'm just gonna track it myself in post. So personally, I don't use it. I will not use it, but maybe it's interesting for some of you guys. Another feature that we already had on the previous versions is the Horizon Steady. Not much to say about it. If you just rotate the camera, Horizon Steady is gonna keep the footage straight. Only thing is that it's cropping a lot. In order to be able to do it, they have to crop in the image. So if you want to do it, for example, with a selfie stick, make sure to have like a super long selfie stick, or if you want to mount it somewhere, make sure you're far away from your subject, because then it's going to crop quite a bit to be able to do the stabilization, the Horizon Steady. Another feature that might be interesting for some of you guys is the telemetry overlay. So basically when you use the GPS remote, you have to use the GPS remote in order to have the GPS information. Then the camera is going to be able to know how fast you're going, so it's going to put like a little overlay, and you can have the speed, you can see like where you went, like doing like a little map. You can see like the vertical speed as well. You can see like a lot of different stuff. Personally, again, it's something that I'm not using, but probably it's interesting for some of you guys. And now the new thing with this new DJI Action 5 Pro is that you can also link it to your sports watch. So let's say you have an Apple Watch, a Garmin watch, or whatever. You can take the data from the watch, send it to the camera, and then use this data to put like all the overlays with the speed and everything, so that you don't have to use the little Bluetooth remote. And then finally, there's a super high-speed transfer. So if you're using the app and you want to download images straight to your phone, it's going to be super fast and reliable. So now, before concluding this video, I just wanted to quickly talk about the accessories, because this is something very important when shooting with action cameras. So first of all, probably the most important accessory for action cameras, or for cameras in general, is ND filters. So if you want to shoot with the DJI Action 5 Pro, you will need ND filters in order to have your shutter speed being twice as high as your frames per second. So let's say you're shooting at 100 frames per second, your shutter speed has to be 1/200. If you're shooting 25 frames per second, your shutter speed has to be 1/50 in order to get that really nice motion blur. And you can only achieve it using ND filters. So with the basic case of NDs, you have ND 8, 16, and 32, and you can do pretty much everything with it. Then my personal favorite accessory that I use the most to shoot with action camera is the little mouth mount. Basically, you can just mount your camera on it, and then you're gonna hold your camera in your mouth in order to capture POV. So you just hold it like this, and that way you can get really nice POVs. It's better than the chest mount in my opinion, because you can turn around and it's basically gonna film what you look at. Chest mount is really good for like two-wheel sports, like for downhill riding, for MTB, for motos and stuff like this. It's better than having it on your helmet, I think, because it's more like you feel more inside the action. But yeah, for POV and BTS stuff, I really love this little mouth mount. I use it all the time for BTS stuff. Next up, if you are into water sports, you will need the floating handle. So as its name is saying, it's basically gonna make your camera float. If you drop your camera in the water, it's gonna float with this. And then now they also have a floating case, which is again super useful. So for example, when we were shooting wakeboarding, I mounted the camera on the board and I put this floating case around just in case the mount that I used didn't hold, and then the camera falls in the water. At least it's not gonna sink and I can find it. It's bright orange, so when it's in the water, you're gonna see it easily. So So yeah, super useful for water sports stuff. So now another super useful little accessory is this little grip. It's a grip and a tripod. So basically you can use it as a grip like this if you want to shoot vlogs or stuff like this, or you can also open it and then use it as a little tripod if you want to shoot, I don't know, if you want to film yourself talking, if you want to do whatever. Again, it's super small, lightweight, and super useful for a lot of different stuff. Then we have the handlebar mount. There's two different versions, a little bigger one that you can rotate around here. So yeah, this one you can like move around a little more, it's a little bigger. And then there is another one that is slightly smaller, and inside there's also a sort of adapter in case the thing you want to mount it on is smaller or bigger. You can just take it off like this. So again, these are super useful, not only to mount the camera on handlebars, but also to mount the camera, I don't know, all around your bike, on different stuff, wherever. You can mount the cameras in a lot of different locations with it to get super nice shots. Okay, next accessory is the little Bluetooth remote. This little remote, you must have it if you want to have the speed and everything, as I mentioned before, for the telemetry overlay. It's also useful sometimes if you're not close to your camera and you want to start recording from further away. So yeah, that's something I personally don't use it much, but this is something that could be interesting for some of you guys. Another very useful accessory is the strap. So this is nothing crazy, it's just a strap that you can attach pretty much anywhere, but it's super useful. For example, we used it to mount the camera on the foot of the athlete when we were shooting the speed flying, and this is the best shot we captured when the camera was on the athletes. It was super immersive, and yeah, basically you can use this to mount the camera pretty much anywhere. Usually what I do, for example, on the foot, I added some duct tape around to make sure it wouldn't fall off, but yeah, super useful mount. And then last one, it might sound dumb, but they are actually probably the most important ones. It is the sticker mounts. I just wanted to mention them because they are not 100% reliable. If, for example, I don't know, you're shooting in super cold conditions, sometimes they don't stick that well. So, for example, what I did for the skiing and the snowboarding, I mounted some on the skis, but as soon as they would land, the skis would hit the ground super hard, and then they would just detach, and the camera was just flying away. So what I did, I just added some super glue, then I stick it on the skis, and then it would hold no problem. Alright, so we're now coming to the end of this video, and in order to conclude, I wanted to give you guys my own personal opinion. So if you already own an action camera and you're wondering if this new DJI Action 5 Pro would be a step up, then my answer is yes, for 3 simple reasons. First one, the image quality is by far the best I ever had on any action camera. So this is already a game changer for me. Then second one, the quick release system is a big game changer for me as well in terms of experience and how easy it is to use this camera. And then finally, if you shoot underwater stuff, I can tell you this is by far the best action camera you can get for underwater footage. And if you don't already have an action camera and you're wondering if you should get one, then my answer is yes. First of all, there are some shots, some perspectives, some angles that are just impossible to get with a big camera, and that can only be achieved with the smaller action cameras. This DJI Action 5 Pro is super small and lightweight, so it's basically going everywhere I go. I always have one in my backpack. First of all, let's say if I want to vlog and I don't want to set up the big camera, I don't want to put the microphone on it, hold like a heavy setup, I just use the Action 5 Pro. I have the DJI Mic 2 linked to it. I just talk to the camera. Audio is perfect, image quality is perfect. If I want to shoot BTS, I have my little mouth mount that I hold if I want to do POV stuff. If I want to take photos as well, I'm going to use it for like wide angle stuff. Let's say, for example, you're going on a big adventure, a big hike or whatever, and you don't want to carry a super heavy backpack, then you can just swap your heavy wide angle lens for the DJI Action 5 Pro, and then you can use it to shoot all your wide angle stuff. So these are different examples and reasons why I always have one in my backpack. It's super easy to use and it's super enjoyable to use. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you found this video interesting. If you have any questions, any feedbacks or anything, please leave them down below. I'm always happy to answer. And if you enjoyed it, click that subscribe button. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.
Bye.